Christina Sherwin.
And I'm Donovan Wiseman. Christina, we had something pretty extraordinary here this morning, isn't that right?
A lunar eclipse, actually. A total lunar eclipse happened this morning, and we like to call it a blood moon because of the orange tint that you can see in this picture. And it was, I'm sure, a phenomenal sight for the people who could see it, but for us here in the Big Bend, what did we see, Donovan?
Honestly, we didn't get to see anything at all because we had a very dense fog overhead this morning. So if you're out there, we're sorry about that. We had a nice picture of it there for you. If you're here in Tallahassee trying to look at it, I personally didn't go out and look.
I actually did. I
Really?
woke up at the before sunrise at 6:30 in the morning in hopes that we could see it or that I could see it, and I actually told my roommates about it the night last night, and we were gonna wake up together and go look at it. And I got up at 6:30, walked outside. All I could see was fog, so I just went back to bed and waited until my class started. But it is what it is. We live in Florida, so we're going to get those weird temperatures where we do see the dew point temperature, which is when condensation forms, match the air temperature.
Unfortunately, there were parts of the country that did get to see it. Unfortunately, we didn't hear. There's going to be, is there more, like 2 more next year? Is that right?
There is. It's actually called a tetrad, where we have 4 in 2 years, and it's a very rare occurrence. So it's kind of cool that we get to see it here in the United States.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. Well, enough about that. Let's send it out. We're going to talk about a little more about the foggy weather, and then we're going to talk about an overview of what's going on here in the U.S.
Yeah, we started out with that fog this morning, and we have a picture here that was sent in by Martin Harper. So thank you to him. And we can see we can't see anything outside. The visibility was less than 1/4 of a mile this morning, so there wasn't much to see, especially for that lunar eclipse event. Now, out in the southwest, they do have some a tropical system actually moving through. The remnants of Simon are just downpouring on areas in Arizona and starting to get into New Mexico. The Northeast also saw some wet weather today with a system moving on to the north, but that's going to be heading out of their neighborhood. But back here in Tallahassee, we are going to be seeing a beautiful night, low of 62 degrees with some high clouds, but just a gorgeous night if you want to go out on the town. And for tomorrow, we're going to be running on autopilot. So we're just going to be seeing the same sort of weather that we have been seeing for the last couple of days. And we're going to keep seeing that for the next couple of days. So it's going to be a pretty boring forecast for here in Tallahassee.
Man, well, I guess that's kind of good. There's no bad weather, at least. We're not getting caught in rain outside. So.
That's very true. We're not in the same circumstance that Miami is actually finding themselves in. They are actually getting ready for king tide.
Right.
Now, what's king tide, Donovan?
All right, so we were talking about this earlier. Apparently, every year, there's this huge flooding that happens in Miami where they have to, what was it they were doing? They're already getting ready, preparing for that flooding.
They actually installed new water management systems since last year because they had street flooding in Miami last year, and so they actually implemented new systems to hopefully minimize the effects of king tide.
Man, that's rough for those people down there. Good luck to all your family if you have family in Miami. Let's go ahead and talk more about what's going on here in Tallahassee. We got a lot of good stuff going on, isn't that right, Jake?
Yeah, thanks, guys. And sorry to hear about that in Miami, but in terms of precipitation going on in Florida, mostly there's not going to be that much in the next few days, mostly just moist temperatures or moist conditions and warmer temperatures than what we saw last week. But right now, not a whole lot going on. It's pretty clear around the capital city region. We saw some clouds earlier today. Now we just see a few lingering throughout the day, but mostly sunshine and warm temperatures as we noticed all throughout the day. I know it was much warmer than last weekend with the Wake Forest game, but today, a little bit above average. 84 degrees was the high. Didn't reach the record, but still pretty warm out there considering. 60 degrees was the average for our low. We were at 64, so above average in both regards. So a pretty warm day today as moisture continues to move in from the Gulf of Mexico. 85 is at St. Mark's, and that's the story around much of the region, except over here we have 90s over in the west around Wilma and Quincy, but down by the coast, 83 at Carabel and Apalachicola seeing 84, and over here in Perry, we don't have a temperature right now, but we can assume mid-80s is really the trend around right now as the night progresses. And get a good look at the wind flow coming out. The high pressure system's been bringing in moisture from the Gulf of Mexico. It's going to be raising our humidity, bringing in the sunshine, the warmer weather that we've been noticing. And that's going to be the trend for the next week or so, guys, as we're moving through into the next couple of days. Get a good look at the moisture moving off towards the Atlantic. It's getting pushed off right now. Miami seeing quite a bit of it right now. We had drier air moving in behind, but the greens are indicative of moisture. The browns are drier air. So as you can see, the brown is receding and we have more moisture moving into our region as we continue on over the next few days. And the story, once again, high pressure bringing in the flow from the Gulf of Mexico. But this weekend, it's going to be a great day out there. We get out there and enjoy maybe some cooking, some sports, something like that. Not a game in town, but we are going to be having some pretty nice weather as a front continues to advance. Great nights about sums it up, folks. Enjoy the wet. We see the music notes on here. We're going to be just dancing to the music, not much else going on into the weekend. It's going to be fantastic outside. The beach forecast, not a whole lot going on. East, 5 to 10 knots. Surf's going to be about 1 to 2 feet, so not a great surf, and the UV index up there at 11, so you want to keep your eyes on that as we move. If you're going out to the beach, UV index is pretty extreme. So for tonight, you're going to be in the low 60s, so pretty cool. Not dipping into the 50s as we were dipping into the 50s and 40s last week, but we're still in the 60s. It's going to be the trend much around the region. It's going to be a very calm night, very beautiful out there. But for tomorrow, taking a look at things, 90 degrees around the board again. So we're moving back into the low 90s. Fall's not here to stay yet. We're actually seeing the summer continue on for the next few days, but we're going to expand things out real quick with Donovan. Donovan, what can you tell us about the southeast?
Well, you're exactly right. We're definitely seeing those summer-like temperatures here in Tallahassee. Let's take a look at what our neighbors are seeing. There's actually a lot going on. We're going to look at our 7 days here one more time here in Tallahassee. For tomorrow, 92 degrees, 90 on Friday, 80s on Saturday. We might get to experience some cooler weather. We're going to be up in Syracuse playing those guys up there in New York. Hopefully we bring home a victory back here to Tallahassee. Now here's our current temperatures in the southeast. Up there in Atlanta, 84 degrees, 88 in Montgomery, 86 in Tallahassee again, 86 in Jacksonville. New Orleans, 84. You see a lot of these towns closer to the Gulf. They're getting a nice breeze. We saw that locally with St. Mark's and Carabel, those towns. They get a little bit of wind. That helps them out. We'll talk more about that wind. Here in Orlando, they got quite a little bit windy conditions, about 12 miles per hour. 13 in Miami, 10 in Atlanta. Very calm, basically the story for the southeast. Now here's our relative humidity. Here in Tallahassee, 46. We see higher than that normally. Today it wasn't very humid, pretty comfortable outside except for those 90s. That's what's been making me sweat all day. Down here in Orlando, they're all set 46. Miami, very high, 67. Up in Tupelo, they're seeing a lot of that too. So you want to be careful with that if you're outside. Might even bring a hand towel to wipe your face off, honestly. For this water vapor, now you see a lot of this, this green indicates moisture in the air. It's not coming our way. You see we're closer to this orange here in Tallahassee. We don't expect a lot of precipitation for a while now. Now here's our satellite and radar. Taking a look at the clouds, what's moving in. Up there in Atlanta, the Carolinas there into Alabama and Mississippi, they might be getting some showers. Again, staying further north than we are here in Tallahassee. We're not expecting anything for a while. If you keep a garden, it's a good idea to be watering your plants every day, as we are seeing those high temperatures and no rainfall. So you want to get out, water your flowers, take care of that for sure. Here's our futurecast, talking more about that rain. No rain in Atlanta right now. Here in Tallahassee, a lot of the same story. New Orleans is getting a little bit. Tupelo, they're getting about a ½ an inch of rain. That's expected to actually go further north from them, up towards Tennessee, Kentucky, that area. So again, nothing really close by, but we are seeing it some in the south. And for tonight's forecast here in the southeast, Atlanta's going to be at 64, Tallahassee again at 61, Montgomery 63, and Tupelo 65. So a lot of good things going on in the southeast, a lot of comfortable conditions for the next 10 days or so. Isn't that right?
Yeah, absolutely. We have those warmer temperatures for the southeast for us here in Tallahassee. But if we broaden the picture a little bit to go a little bit national, we actually are going to be talking about some weather history. Now, Cheyenne, Wyoming, what's the story there? What happened there?
Okay, so Cheyenne, Wyoming, they always see, maybe sometimes some crazy weather up that way. Certainly more than we do as far as the winter conditions are concerned. What year was it that they received 8 inches of snow in one day?
1990. 24 years ago, they received nearly 8 inches of snow. In October.
In October, early October.
Let's talk about crazy, right? We're here in
real.
Tallahassee, trying to beat the heat with 90-degree temperatures, but there in Wyoming, they have dealt with snow in October before.
That's right. Well, we'll get away from that. We'll go talk about some more positive things with Jake. Jake, what do you have for us?
Actually, we're going to be taking a look at the national, and I'm going to be going ahead and doing that forecast for us as we take a look at the current conditions in the United States. We see those warmer temperatures like Donovan was talking about in the southeast, just covering the board with those reds for the hot temperatures. And if we move our way west a little bit, we see Phoenix and Albuquerque. They're sitting pretty moderate at 68 degrees and 75 degrees, and that's because of those remnants of tropical cyclone Simon, which has just been dumping rain on them. So they've been seeing those cloudier conditions, and we see on the satellite where that rain is, where those clouds are, just stretching all the way into the Great Plains. And so that's why they didn't see those warmer temperatures today, because they were, had all of that rain. Now, the Northeast also saw a little bit of wet weather. We see the system moving on north, but they did receive some of that rain today. We actually zoom in a little bit and we can see parts of New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine just getting soaked today with all of that rain. And we move on over to North Dakota, South Dakota, Montana, and they saw a little bit of rain, but not anything near what the Northeast saw. Now, the big story nationally is there are these remnants of Simon that are just pouring down on Phoenix and the surrounding areas, just bringing lots of rain to that area. We zoom in a little bit, we can see a better picture of just all of that moisture that they've been receiving today. And we take a look at the rainfall amounts. Over half an inch of rain, 0.63 inches of rain in Phoenix. The rest of the country not seeing too much of that moisture that they are receiving. We put this into motion. We do see how Kansas City is going to be receiving a little bit more rain as we go into the future, and that we see the greens just expanding over the United States into the Midwest regions as they start to see more rain coming into this weekend. Now, airport delays, if you have any travel plans, you're pretty good to go. There are 0 travel delays as we look across the United States. Just good to go across the United States, which is good news. Now, tonight's forecast, we are going to be seeing those moderate temperatures here in the southeast, but even colder at Minneapolis at 36 degrees tonight. Just some very cool temperatures up there, nothing like what we've been seeing here. And for tomorrow, again, the same sort of story, just really hot, really dry conditions in the southeast. Look at all that sunshine from Tallahassee on up to Memphis and Atlanta, and the same sort of story for much of the United States. Maybe a different kind of story for Albuquerque with those with some rain showers in store for them. But overall, just a pretty gorgeous day for the United States this week.
Absolutely, and Christine, I didn't try to steal your segment there. Thanks for giving us a look at what's going on in the country. Let's bring it back to Tallahassee and talk about the rest of the week. Now, we had all that fog this morning. That's looking back. We're past that. The 90s are back tomorrow. You can see here on Thursday, 92 degrees for our high, 90 on Friday. Those are pretty warm temperatures. Again, very summer-like out there. Staying dry through this week. Again, we're not seeing a lot of rainfall for maybe another week or so. Now, here's our current temperatures here in the region. Again, Tallahassee's at 86. Our friends up there in Quincy, they're at 91. Wilma's at 90. And again, down towards the coast, these Gulf Coast towns, they're seeing cooler temperatures. They're getting some help from some wind coming off of the ocean. So they're staying a little bit cooler than we are. Very nice for them. Again, here's looking at that wind, 7 miles per hour in St. Mark's, 5 in Carabel, 7 in Apalachicola. That's the big story. It's not a lot of wind if you're out there on the beach today. It's not too bad, but you are going to get some cooler temperatures because of that, so lucky you. Now let's look at our satellite and radar. Nothing really going on. You see some patches of clouds. That's pretty typical. Nothing bringing any rain our way. Again, that's going to be a week away. That's a big story. It's going to be very hot, very dry here for the next week or so. This is the southeast. Now again, we've had this area of high pressure off the Atlantic here towards Jacksonville, bringing in those warm airs here to Tallahassee. You see, we got our son there. He's happy about it. That cold front is kind of sagging down across the southeast, about central Georgia and Tennessee. That's where it's sort of just stopping. Once you get deeper into Dixie where we are, we're getting a lot of dry conditions, a lot of very warm heat here as well. And this is just where it's moving. This is the big picture for tomorrow. Get outside and enjoy this hot weather. Let's bring it back to summer and what we were doing in summer. Go out, barbecue, maybe play some baseball. There's no games this weekend here in Tallahassee as far as football and baseball is concerned. We do have soccer and volleyball going on. It's a great day to go out and cheer on your fellow Noles. Go out there and support them. Again, there's your great and nice. And we're just maybe play some music while you're in town. Go outside. Just make some outdoor activities. It's going to be really nice here for the next while, actually. Now, let's talk more about what's going on in the region for tonight. 62 here in Tallahassee. It's going to be a beautiful night. Very calm outside. It's a great night to be outside. Very cool and comfortable. Study for the rest of the night. Maybe go out on your porch and enjoy this weather some more. Now, tomorrow's forecast, 92 degrees, running on autopilot. We're seeing a lot of this. This week it's been very hot. Again, it's going to continue for about 10 more days. So let's talk about our weather wear. What should we wear for the next 10 days? We need a jacket for the morning. It's going to be cool. Short sleeves by the afternoon. And again, it's going to be pretty nice for our evenings. Now, our 7-day forecast, let's talk more about this. 90s is the story. Until Saturday, we might dip down to 89. Sunday, back up to 90. Next week, we might move down into the upper 80s. Again, very warm. Those lows are staying in the 60s, so a lot of autopilot weather going on here for the next week.
All right, thanks, Donovan, for that look at the local, pretty calm out there and locally anyway. But I mean, up north, not the same story. I mean, we saw what they thought was a tornado-like damage going on in New York, right?
Yeah, and you don't hear much about tornadoes up in New York. Luckily, and what we're finding out now is they don't think it's a tornado, but a microburst, which is not a word you hear often.
Yeah, microburst is basically it's a isolated downburst, a very concentrated flow of air. It can reach 100 miles per hour. It comes from a thunderstorm.
Absolutely. So when you have this air rotating, it goes up, it's got to come down. When it comes down really quickly in one place, that's where you get that microburst.
So not a usual cause of such damage, right? We're used to tornadic activity. But...
For sure. So let's bring it back. Let's talk about Florida. Okay. And Florida's pretty nice. We're going to do this a little differently today, though. We've been talking about how there really isn't much going on with our weather. So we're going to bring about what's going on for a little bit, but we're really going to go ahead and extend your forecast out into maybe Saturday or even Sunday to see where we end up. So current conditions, let's check it out. 86 out in Orlando, 83 in Tampa, 84 in Jacksonville, back home in Tallahassee, a couple clouds, 86 degrees. So we are looking pretty nice. Current winds really showing that high pressure in control with that clockwise flow. A little gustier in Orlando, 12 miles per hour. So it is pretty nice, and that is what we are talking about. Relative humidity in percentage, 46% out in Orlando, 46% also in Tallahassee, really showing that it's very dry out there, not something we're used to seeing. This dry weather is really dominating our area and is going to over the next 5 to 7 days. So satellite and radar, again, rain not really in our area. You can get to the clouds and rain down in Miami, maybe even a couple clouds in Orlando, and really down in Miami and Key West. They are going to get quite a bit of rain over the next couple of days. Moisture is really going to dominate that area. But up in Tallahassee, into Pensacola, it is looking beautiful. So let's start with tonight. Tonight, lower 70s, definitely upper 60s up north. Let's call it 61 out in Tallahassee, 64 in Jacksonville, 77 in Miami, 80 for tonight in Key West. So they're not even going to break into the 70s for tonight, which kind of, I don't like that. Honestly, 80 degrees in the middle of the night, that's too hot. But 61, I like that number. So tomorrow, let's talk about 90s for Tallahassee, maybe 93. I don't think it's going to get that hot, maybe 92, but 93, 87 out in Jacksonville. Lower, we're going to be warmer than Key West, 88, so not a big temperature variation over that area. Low temperature of 80, high of 88, but across the board, upper 80s, lower 90s is what we're seeing in Florida. So let's go ahead and go into Friday. 92 in Tallahassee, 88 in Jacksonville, 90 down in Orlando. And again, we are talking about this autopilot, really not much. 88 again down in Key West in Miami, 87 out in West Palm Beach. What about Saturday? If you couldn't guess by now, we're talking upper 80s, lower 90s. 89 in Jacksonville, 92 out in Tallahassee, 91 out in Tampa as well, 89 out in Orlando, and again, 88 down that southeast coast. So let me ask you a question real quick. It's been tonight, tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday. What do you think is going to happen on Sunday? How about upper 80s and lower 90s? Isn't that beautiful? I think so. So let's get to something a little more interesting. Jake, let's talk tropics.
All right, Braden. Yeah, we tend to forget in this time of year that the tropics are still going on. We are in the tropical hurricane season. Don't know why we're asking questions. I don't think they can respond. But in terms of our tropical update, not a whole lot going on in the Atlantic. We do have a little bit of action in the Western Pacific. We'll be talking about that in just a moment. In terms of names, let's take a quick look at what we've got. We're all the way down to E with Edouard. He's been our strongest storm of the season at a Category 3 hurricane, so that's been our biggest story up till now. The next one we're going to look at is Faye, so keep your eyes out for that as we move on to the next few days. This is a good look of how things develop, the climatological look at things, which is basically a good way of predicting the path that these storms will develop over the month of October. We see they really like to develop south of Cuba in the Gulf of Mexico, and they like to extend all the way up to the northwest. So it's a good indicator of what might happen in the month of October based on what has happened in the past off of these events. But this is a Gulf, not much going on right now. We have a little bit of a wave, but not really any chance of development as it moves on. Nothing tropical going on there. Over to where this is the most recent invest we've been looking at. This one's got a 10% chance of development. Not a lot going on there. That we see a little bit of an attempt to develop. We see a little circulation trying to occur, but just not going to be able. The conditions are not favorable for this one to develop. Looking at around 10% over the next couple, or as this system progresses. But big story right now is a remnant of Simon, actually. So the afterlife of the storm we just dealt with is giving Arizona quite a bit of rain right now, all the way from Phoenix over to Albuquerque, seeing rainfall. Going to be seeing several inches over the next few days as things continue on. 0.63 inches in Phoenix, going to be going up to around 0.7 inches down there in Tuscan. We see going up as the storm continues to bring precipitation to the region. Albuquerque is going to be seeing all the way up to 0.4 inches. So big stories in the Atlantic right now. That's really all we have right now. We have an invest that we're looking at over the Atlantic Ocean, but besides that, not much going on. So bringing it back to the locals, currently we're 86 degrees, so like Braden said just a moment ago, not a lot going on. 81 degrees, Panama City, all the way down to Orlando, seeing 86. So 80s around the board, and futurecast, things are going to be getting relatively cool compared to what we've been seeing over the past few months. 60s for Thursday in the morning, going all the way into Friday evening. Things are going to be warming back up and then dropping back down. So summer-like conditions continuing on over the next few days. Fall, once again, guys, not sticking around in the least bit, but still dealing with summer. But Braden, we talked about the Atlantic, so let's go ahead and discuss what's going on in the Western Pacific. That's where a lot of the big action's going on, right?
Yeah, that's what we're talking about right now, and that is Super Typhoon Vongphon, which is in the Western Pacific, pretty far south of Japan, but this morning had winds of 180 miles per hour.
Just try to imagine hanging onto a vehicle moving 180 miles an hour. That'd be something like how that would feel. And then you add in the rain and the surge, and it's just catastrophic. Isn't it the strongest storm on the planet right now?
Strongest storm on the planet right now. The second strongest storm ever on the planet. Of course, last year, Super Typhoon Haiyan is what broke that with winds of 190 miles per hour, which according to some research is the upper limit for tropical cyclone strength.
That's interesting. We have not seen one break that boundary, as you just said, but this thing really intensified pretty quickly, didn't it?
Yeah, it did, and over the last really 4 or 5 days is really when it started to have that rapid intensification. Rapid intensification, really something scientists are still trying to understand. And hopefully we'll have a better understanding of it over the next couple of years.
Well, we wish luck to Japan as they deal with the storm moving on in the next few days. But we can take things back to the local level right now, right?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's go ahead, talk about your local, and we are going to actually go back to that graphic. Let's check out, hang on. There we go. Wait. We got it. All right. So let's take a look at Doak from our friends at FSU Weather STEM, which is a new sort of technology that we have on campus. It gives us real-time temperatures, precipitation, all these values, and of course, this wonderful cam overlooking Doak Campbell Stadium. Nice sun. This picture was grabbed at around 5:30. So again, you could see the high clouds that we were talking about before, and the sun is looking very pretty out in that picture. So let's talk about what we're going to see the rest of the week. Definitely foggy this morning. We did see that dense fog. 90s are coming back tomorrow, and overall, it's just going to be staying dry throughout the week. And we talked about it. We banged it into your heads. We hope you understand it now. So 86 degrees, mostly cloudy. That humidity still at about 46%. Calm winds, really nothing to speak of, which means there's going to be some more fog tonight into tomorrow. So over the next 3 days, you might want to expect that dense fog in the morning. You might want to get an early start. So yeah, temperatures 85 in Monticello and St. Mark's, 86 out in Tallahassee. Quincy, you're the warm spot right now, 92 degrees. Along the coast, good evening, Apalachicola, sitting at 84 degrees. So big picture, here's what we got. High pressure really in control. Sun's really happy to be out after being away all summer. Stationary front really kind of sitting there, gonna fade out as we put this into motion. High pressure, it's gonna move to the west a little bit, but you know, tomorrow is just gonna be a great day. Go out barbecuing, maybe play some ball for your friends. It's not Father's Day, but there's always a good time to spend with your father, maybe playing some baseball. America's pastime, children's pastime. It's a wonderful thing. It's going to be nice. It's going to be great. And then Friday night, you just got to move to the music because it is going to be wonderful. Go out, have some fun. There's no game on Saturday. So Friday night, definitely going to be a great night to go ahead and head out there. On the beach, of course, it's been a wonderful beach day over the last couple days. We hope it stays that way. Winds east 5 to 10 knots. Surf 1 to 2 feet. UV index still high. So, of course, bring out that sunscreen, a hat, and maybe some sunblock. Your pollen forecast for the next couple days higher than it's been with that dry air. Ragweeds, grasses, and chenopod's really leading to this high pollen. So if you have some allergies, make sure you watch out for that because it might irritate you just a little bit. So 60s for your lows, lower 60s, nothing to talk about too much. Planning your day, waking up is going to be a mild morning, 85 for your lunchtime, back in the 90s for sunset, of course. And for the week ahead, as we have said over and over and over again, upper 80s, lower 90s. That's what we're going to be expecting for the rest of the week. And you know, it's Columbus Day on Monday, so we might be able to have some fun then, you know. People go out partying for Columbus Day, right?
I don't know about that, Braden. I've never gone out partying, but I mean, guess you could demonstrate. Why didn't you ever tell me you were a singer and a dancer? Got to demonstrate your skills.
Well, you know, just like everyone else, I used to do that elementary school chorus, so, you know, sometimes you just got to let it go.
You know, there's not much else to do this weekend with the temperatures the way they are. I mean, looking at it right now, we see lower 90s, like you said, all the way through the weekend as FSU goes to take on Syracuse this Saturday with a noon kickoff.
Yeah, let's talk about Syracuse. Probably about 54 degrees out there. Again, those upper 80s persisting here. I wish we had those lower 40s, 50s, though. That'd be nice.
It's going to be a lot more, probably a little more comfortable to work in the dome with those temperatures than down here with the humidity and the 90 degrees.
Absolutely, but always follow us on social media. Like us at facebook.com/FSU Weather. Follow us on twitter.com/FSU Weather, and watch us anytime on livestream.com/FSU Weather. We have been slacking on the social media a little bit, but we are looking to give you daily evening updates starting today, so we're hoping we'll have more for you on those fronts. However, for the show tonight, I'm student meteorologist Braden Robinson.
I'm student meteorologist Jake Taylor.
And you guys have a great evening.